In this era and season where everything seems to be going away from the hands of the few, a whole lot of people have attempted to do several things just to salvage the situation. As a real estate investor, you need to be furnished with updated level of the present, the past, and of course, the future happenings in the Lagos State real estate market. The knowledge of these will put you in a vantage position whereby you can make decisions that can help you multiply your money. A whole lot of real estate investors have invested in properties that most of them are having regrets. This is due to the fact that many of them have blindly invested in locations that may not favor that investment. And this is due to the fact that this industry is very saturated. So we have inexperienced people giving false statistical data and making real estate investors to use this false data in investing. And then most of these people are not getting the best and of course what they ought to get from that real estate investment. I am Adejari and I'm so delighted to welcome you to Property Matters. In case you're coming across a video like this for the first time, this is Property Matters, and Property Matters is a real estate YouTube talk show that comes your way twice every week. At Property Matters, we examine, we'll dissect, we'll give you updated information on the real estate market, the real estate developer, the title documents, how to analyze a fraudulent real estate transaction, key things you should look out for, criteria you must put into consideration whenever you're choosing the real estate developers. We talked about the market, we analyze the trend, we analyze the investment, we analyze so many things. And updated information like this will put you in a vantage position whereby you make the best and of the best real estate investment decision. So do well to subscribe to this channel, turn on the notification bell so that when I drop a video, a very important personality like you will be among the first person to see it. Don't go nowhere. I'll be back immediately after this short commercial. All right, you're welcome back. For those who have subscribed to this channel, I want to say a very big thank you for your time. Thank you for subscribing. For those who are creating time to view this video, thank you. So today, let's talk about how to explore the Lagos State real estate market. And the very aspect of real estate market that we're going to focus our analysis on is the Lagos rental market. So today we're talking about how to explore the Lagos rental market. And of course, today we're going to be giving updated information, important locations that you should look out for, and different investment indices that you must put into consideration when you are doing rental properties in Lagos, Nigeria. So once again, I'm Adejari. So in case you're coming across a video like this for the first time, do also subscribe, turn on the notification bell so that when I drop a video, a very, very important personality like you will be the first person to see it. Now let's talk about inflation. There's no way we're going to talk about the real estate market and we will ignore an important subject matter that have dominated our scene, which is inflation. A whole lot of people do not understand that the inflation that we are currently experiencing in Nigeria has both positive and negative effects. And when you understand that, and as an investor, you also need to understand what we call the entry and the exit points in the Lagos State real estate market. Knowing when to enter, knowing when to invest, knowing how to invest, and knowing the particular location to invest is as important as the purpose for that investment. And as a real estate investor, you need to understand that a whole lot of factors play favorable and unfavorable circumstances whenever you want to explore the Lagos State rental market. There was a scenario that happened with someone I know presently the real estate investor wanted to invest in the rental properties. Now, because of the fact that the real estate investor budget was very slim, the inexperienced real estate practitioner took the woman to as far as Igbonla in Efe, and the inexperienced realtor told the woman that she can get 200,000 and 300,000 rental income in that location. And unfortunately, this woman, of course, she's not in Nigeria, she's in diaspora. She invested in anticipation that as from next year, she's going to start, getting good rental income off the investment she did. Now, she entered into the real estate market, but she entered into the wrong locations. Now, oftentimes we've always talked about the importance of locations and why you need to work with a professional. I've also talked about you need to understand the reason and the indices that judges rental values and the calibers of people that are residing within that location. You also want to consider the road network that is also leading to that location, as well as the security and, of course, the regular supply of power and water. There are some places on the highland that if you have invested, you will be ordering water, you'll be buying water because why? The location and that soil texture cannot give good pipe-borne water. These are some of the major indices that you need a professional to help you work out before going into the real estate investment, more importantly in Lagos. Now, because of the fact that a whole lot of people play the game of deceit, because of the fact that many people don't understand the important and cogent fact that they should look out for when guiding an investor in any form of real estate investment. Let me also remind you real estate investors that most of these guys don't even have the knowledge of some of the basic principles and indices that determines the role of what investor in real estate in that axis. They cannot certainly give what they don't have. Now, as a real estate investor, if you want to explore, okay, the Lagos State rental market, you need to understand what we call the entry point. Where and when should I enter? Where and when should I enter? And where and when should I pull out? These two factors play an important role. If you are going to turn over your investment and get good return, which obviously is the sole aim of investment, these two factors are very important. Now, I'm going to cite a case of a real estate investor that have been managing his property since 2018. One thing about this amazing investor is that, of course, he has spent some times in Nigeria before he relocated abroad. So this man is certainly familiar with locations. He's familiar with, the rental income and the likes. So he understands this. So with our help and our guidance, we'll help him explore his money. This man from 2018 till date has bought like 7 properties that he has rented. He has made money, he has turned over, and he sold that property for good profits. Now, the aim of that investment basically is what we call property flipping. So this man buys this property. In most cases, these properties are always in deplorable form. So what he does basically is that he does some major repairs, refurnish the property, rehabilitate the property, put it out for rental, maybe 2 or 3 rentals. Then after that scenario, he sell it off. There was a particular property I helped in, of course, in investing in Chevron Lekki, Lagos. And of course, he held that property for like I think 3 years. He bought that property for 65 million, and when he was to sell it, he sold it for 145 million naira. Now he's having regret that if he knew that Chevron was going to be this the destination for top real estate investor, he would have held that property even till date. But he was able to make good returns from rent, as at the time he rented that property in 2021, 2022, rental income for duplexes in Chevron as at that time was between 5 to 4 million, depending on the location. So he was able to turn over his money from rent, and of course, the return on investment where he do what he sold it. When he sold it, he was able to make this. So this man understand, or he understood what we call the entry and the exit point. The next thing we also want to understand is that there are some policies that the Nigerian government has also enacted. Okay, and these policies, so most of my colleagues will definitely don't want to admit this, but these policies also has its own negative impact, not just on real estate, but on other sectors of the economy. But however, I also want you as a real estate investor to understand that despite the fact that the fuel subsidy policy, the inflation and the dollar rise does not favor some, it favors majority of people. More importantly, those who are living in the diaspora. So what exactly is the impact of these policies, and how has it affected real estate investment over the shortest period of time? The very first thing you need to understand is that the subsidy policy and the continual rise, in dollar in Lagos, Nigeria, has made it very, very um, difficult, okay, for Nigerians in Nigeria to afford properties. I've seen instances whereby a whole lot of people have been forced to sell their properties and move to remote areas just to have a place to put their head at night. So, number one is that this policy has affected the purchasing capacity of several Nigerians. And because of this negative policies, a whole lot of smart real estate investors who had lots of money in their reserve and in their accounts have seized that opportunity to buy properties at a very, very discounted price. And that's why sometimes when you look at some of the advertisements that are flooded, okay, the YouTube scene and other advertisement platforms at distress sale. So a lot of people have explored that opportunity, okay, to do what? To buy properties that for prices that wouldn't have been possible if the policies um, were not enacted. So I also want to emphasize the fact that as a diasporan investor, more importantly, if you're in Nigeria who is looking forward to have a home, like most people when they come home, they spend most of their days um, in hotels. Most people I know a particular investor that whenever he's in Nigeria, 1 week his people will not know that he's in Nigeria. So of course I understand he may have his reason. But what this man does basically is to lodge in a hotel. So in a situation like that, you want to have properties that even after a few days in the hotel, you want to go to your house, you want to see how your house is being maintained, if the maintenance has been properly done, or if there are several stones or damage control policies that have not been enacted. So how the dollar and this present government policy is helping real estate investors, more importantly those in diaspora, to buy is because of the currency advantage. So if you have dollar now, if you have pounds, if you have euros, if you have other currencies at your disposal, you this obviously is a good entry point for you. Meaning that before policies that will come crashing the dollars or any other currency, you want to invest and take advantage of this present thing. But as a real estate investor, you just don't buy everything that is thrown at you. No, you just don't go for properties because of the fact that they're trying to make you understand how important it is. In my last video, I was talking about you having a purpose, having a desire, having a specific goal in mind. And if the real estate investment that has been pitched to you does not correlate or conform to your desire, you are at will to turn down investment. So as a real estate investor, what should you prioritize? What should be your focus? The very first thing you should focus on is rental properties. At this point where inflation is at an uncontrollable level, where the dollar and other currencies is flying high. Now, a whole lot of demand for duplexes, all those big mansions and apartments will begin to shrink because as this policy is being enacted and as this policy is taking and having negative influence on Nigerians, people will be forced to move from where they are to places where they can afford. Now, when you look at the rate at which people demanded for duplexes and the present demand for apartments, it's very, very unimaginable. And what do I mean by that? So, as a real estate investor, prioritize rental properties. Look at places where you can put your two-bedroom, where you can get two-bedroom, where you can get three-bedroom, and get good rental income. At this point, don't just focus on land banking. Land banking is very, very good. But most times, as a real estate investor, I'm always focusing on the now, what I can get now, how I can turn over that investment, flip it, and get something better in a wonderful location. So you want to prioritize rental property. So when you're looking at rental properties, which area of Lagos should I look at? You can look at Sangotedo, okay? There are a lot of projects going on in Sangotedo. In case you want to know more, you're free to contact us. We will put you through. You can look at Surulere on the mainland. You can look at Yaba. You can look at Ikotun and other places. But more importantly, a whole lot of emphasis has been on the island, which is very, very fantastic. But it is not everybody that wants to stay on the island. And that is why when you're exploring, okay, I've always said it several times, spread your investment. Don't just pitch all your investment. Don't just place all your investments in different places. In case when policies begins to change, in case where industrialization is moving to other parts of the country, if you have just placed your investment, you will not be able to get the maximum benefit on those properties. Right now, we've seen that the Lagos state government have emphasized more on creating more road network. Okay, so places or locations that are very close to the rail network will become hot cake because people will choose to stay in places whereby they won't miss their train. Okay, investors will choose to play in places that it's not far from their bus stop or it's not far from the place of work. So, and peradventure, because of the fact that rails are being constructed, a whole lot of things are being constructed automatically. Because, like I've said it before, the industry is not regulated. Landlords are at the liberty of fixing prices. Developers are at the liberty of fixing prices. So, in most cases, they can increase the price in terms of rent, in terms of purchase, in terms of for sale at will. So when you have investments, most importantly, where this project will be situating, it will be an added advantage. So which location should I look about? If you're looking at the mainland, Yaba is a very good location. Surulere is a very good location. Ikotun is a very good location. Mushin is a very good location. You know, if that's for the mainland, but if you're looking at the island, Sangotedo is wonderful. There are a lot of projects going on in Sangotedo. Then you can look at Abijo, fantastic, okay, fantastic. And look at Awoyaya and then maybe one or two axes of the bogije axis. But right now, rental demand in those axes are still relatively low compared to Awoyaya, Sangotedo, Abijo, Lekki, Aja, and the like. So when you situate your rental properties within these axes, you will get a whole lot of now. What exactly will now be the advantages of doing rental properties? The thing is, it gives you confirmed and guaranteed cash flow. Presently in Yaba right now, in that Adekunle axis of Yaba, two-bedroom apartment. I learned yesterday that two-bedroom apartments are being rented for 2.5 million. And of course, if you want to put them for rentals, you get people pay as low as 70,000. And one thing about Yaba is that as you are building, the people that want to rent are already on board. In fact, there've been instances whereby people pay for buildings even when they have not been completed. That shows how competitive Java market. The same thing is also applicable to major places in Surulere and other places of the mine island. So you can look at now for Sangotedo too. Now the same thing is almost happening. Okay, there's demand. More importantly, for those who want to stay within the island, there are a lot of people that their preference. Okay, so you make your decision based on the preference of the people or the investors you are looking out for. The next thing you also want to do if you want to explore the Lagos State rental market is that start focusing on locations where you can build immediately. Okay, there have been instances whereby a lot of people say, okay, fine, I don't want them to build, I want to build for myself. But in cases whereby you are going to Igbonla, when you are going to Odiomi, when you're going to, you can't build in those places. And there are tendencies that when you go to all these interior places, in the next 5 6 years, you may not be able to build. Okay, so as an investor, focus more on places that can attract tenants. Focus on places whereby a whole lot of people will be very, very interested in renting. Okay, so focus more on people. Now, properties that are in these kind of locations are very, very important. But most times, I usually tell people that why don't you just pay the price right now, pay the money, build. The benefit of real estate investment is when you can get the investment 1 or 2 years after purchase. That's to me a reasonable form of real estate investment, and that's why I'm prioritizing that even as a real estate practitioner. You won't see me go to places where I have to wait for 10 years. God is the owner of our lives. So people may not even have time. They will not die before our time in Jesus' name. But let us start prioritizing places where you can start getting return. So look for locations that are buy and build, locations that when you build, there are people to rent. Okay, prioritize that. Now, in other places to understand the market, understand the rental demand market. Okay, a lot of people don't understand that. I think in the present of the at the beginning of this video, I was talking about that. Now, there are some places that you build duplexes that the demand for that places will be low. There are some places where you build bungalows that the demand for bungalows will be low. Does that mean people don't want places where they are more comfortable? Yes, they do. But in most cases, the rental income, the financial capacity of the people within that locality, okay, matters most. In Sangotedo, in Awoyaya, at Yaba, in Surulere, Maryland axis, people have rented. Our statistics have shown that 2 3 bedroom apartments are of higher rental demand than duplexes. Okay, in cases whereby the economy is shrinking, the people's purchasing power is reducing at an uncontrollable rate. It will not make sense for you to now say, I want to put duplex, I want to start earning 5 million. A lot of people do a lot of calculations, a lot of people do a lot of maths. They will say, instead of putting that, why don't I just go for a 2 bedroom apartment and pay 1.8 or 2 million? And of course, that 2 million I can use to stay there in several years and to stay there in 1 year. So there are a lot of people that want to. So I understand the kind of demand before you start building. Okay, know the kind of apartment that is in demand, so that at some point you would not be able to build the houses and you won't get people to rent them on time. When you look at the money, now you also need to understand that duplexes rentals, more importantly on the island, is between 4.55 million. So a lot of people say, why do I have to pay that high when I can get an apartment for 1.5, 1.82 million? You understand? So that is how it works. So you need to understand that. So if you are a land banker, you should start looking at buy and build locations, which is very, very important because people are always prioritizing affordability. So your house must be affordable. So in some cases like this, start focusing on locations where you can build, locations where you can try turnover, so that you understand. Now, these are some of the opportunities that we have in the Lagos State rental market. So whenever you're in diaspora, it doesn't necessarily have to be on the highlands. You can look at Yaba, you can look at Surulere, you can look at Lekki, you can look at Sangotedo. You can take advantages of these rental properties. Now, in most cases, if you are not in Nigeria and you don't have time to build, you can take advantage of all these offline projects. Now, the thing is, there's inflation. Now, it has been announced that a bag of cement will sell for 9,000 as demand begins to increase for it. You can look for upland projects. Now, the most important thing is that I've talked about some certain things you must look out for when you're doing upland. They are in my video, so you can check my playlist. Of course, I'm going to share the link at the comment section so you'll be able to see it. Now, if you can get a good upland project in Yaba, in Surulere, in Aguda, in Sangotedo, in Awoyaya. Awoyaya is not bad. It's not bad. In Lekki, in Aja, in Orchid, other places in Lagos. You should start focusing on how you can turn over. Cash flow should be your major form. Now, a lot of people have said, what if I cannot afford it? Look for the ones you can afford. The market is so big. The market is so large to the point that as low as 30 million, you can even get 2 bedroom in some places in Sangotedo. And you don't even have to pay this 30 million. The instances whereby the developer will say pay in 18 months. So by the time you do your calculation, you find out that it is something you can afford. So that is how you should explore. So because of the inflation, the purchasing power of Nigerians are drastically reduced. So people will prefer apartment rentals because they want to save and of course do other things with funds. And that is why sometimes a duplex can stay 6 months without getting people to rent them. So these are some of the things, and this is how you can explore. So when you understand that the best time to enter the market most times is when it is offline, two, when there is demand, three, when it is affordable. So because as you enter, I can assure you that in less than 6 months, the amount that you paid, okay, in starting or getting into yourself involved in that project will not be the same because of what? Inflation, prices keep going up. So it's possible for you to enter a property for 30 million or the one at Yaba for 43 million, and in 6 months you get 3 million naira return on the investment. That is how profitable the rental market is. So this is where I'm going to draw the curtain of today's episode of Property Matters. I hope you found value. Thank you very much for those who have subscribed, and I'll see you in my next video. God bless you. Bye.